Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday Night Publicly Buzzed Live, Feral Fridays, as it has become to be known. And tonight I am joined by none other than two guests, my brother and Bob Motta. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
I like that little asteroid intro you added there.
Right?
That was cool.
It was super spacey.
Add a little something there. Hey, that's actually real time. That's a Publicly Buzzed camera that we put on that asteroid. We've got just a little bit of time to talk about what we need to get into tonight, and who knows what's going to happen.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I didn't know I had signed up for that. That's some cool shit. That's some real shit right there.
We had a windfall of cash, and we were able to pull that off.
Got crazy quick. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I see a lot of cool people hanging out in here right now. JD, Willow, aspiring court reporter, Joannie B, Jen, Jay, Kaylin. I said JD, Shannon. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate it. Yeah, tonight we are going to be getting into a little bit of the weird side of things.
I didn't even think about the cows. That's a running theme on this show.
Yeah, I had to put the cows in the I've been rocking out some GIFs, dude, and I was like, I can put a fucking flying cow in here. I'm throwing right now in the chat the link tree for Defense Diaries. This is for Bob Motta. Go check that out, guys. That's got all of his links. That's got the merch. That's got the website. That's got the YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. He's everywhere. So make sure you're getting on there.
Podcast. Most importantly, the podcast.
And the most important, the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen to the pod. Listen 100%. To the pod.
The Patreon also, guys, which I actually just joined up
like
on.
It, I'm giving refunds. I just wanted everybody to know. Like free refunds if you listen to the pod and you don't like it.
You know what, you can actually, that makes sense. I would say do that because they're gonna fucking love it, dude. Like that's a money back guarantee because they're gonna love it.
Well, and the joke is it's free.
and it's free. And it's free. Right. You know what? Yeah. Even if they get on the Patreon, dude, they're gonna love this shit. Like
we think it's pretty good, man.
Bob's doing cool stuff over there, guys.
You get your money's worth if you join the Patreon.
Dan the Man. Yeah. That's what we always used to call Dan here, Dan the Man, Jen.
Yeah, that's been my moniker for a long time, since middle school or high school.
So I see people throwing up the aliens already. Yeah, preparing for today. And yeah, it was Miller time. Are you drinking a Miller, Jen? Preparing for today, I was getting into some alien talk, and Dan out of nowhere sent me this crazy ass time travel story, Dan. Well, just kind of enlighten us on that for a second.
Oh yeah, so
I've got the video up here also. We can touch base on that, but yeah, go ahead. Actually,
I somewhat remember hearing about this a while back, but I recently stumbled upon the Y-Files YouTube video, and go check this guy out. I mean, he doesn't need our us to shout him out because he's already huge, but he really does do an incredible job. And this episode revolves around. So these roommates, they rented a computer from their local library somewhere in England, right? And they started they one day they just saw like a file show up on the computer, and they opened it up and read it, and it was a message, and the message was spoken in like an old-timey type of style of English. So they wrote back, and then they got responses, and then they even they took the computer back to the library and they re-rented it because they were so curious. And while all this is going on, they're also having the poltergeist type of phenomena happening inside their house, stairs being stacked up on top of each other, furniture moving around, things like that. And yeah, basically they have a back and forth with this entity on this computer, and I bet I'm getting staticky because I'm on a rant, or I've got a long-winded response here.
I bet you are.
I kind of hear a little bit of static, but anyway,
they're watching. They're watching.
Yeah, they're listening in.
It could be it too.
Yeah,
but yeah, so they have a back and forth with this entity, and they get a bunch of responses, and we'll have to watch the video to get more details. But the most interesting part to me was this wasn't really truly debunked. Like, they had third parties come in and try to figure this out, like debunk the situation, and nobody really had an answer. So
yeah, the one dude, what was his name? Hold on, I got notes here. The one dude was talking about how it is going to change the world. It changed his life
He was like a paranormal investigator,
Yeah,
right?
Gary M. Rowe.
They invited him over, and he spent time with with the computer and had some conversations. And he actually became super like reclusive and didn't want to tell anybody what he talked to the computer about, because he said it was like secret information that was meant for him, and it was gonna change the world. And it's because not only are they talking with an old English style from like the 1500s person, but there's also somebody from the future claiming to be from the year 2109 also. So they're talking.
Right?
Yeah, so it's a
Yeah,
it's
they
a
got like
past
a
and
whole
future
party
thing.
going.
It's
Like
crazy.
how do the guys like? How did they have the tech back then? See, that goes to my whole like we're gonna get into the theories of our alien theories, right? Because like my
Absolutely.
shit runs pretty deep, dude.
Yeah.
I got a whole theory on it.
And that Rowe guy we're talking about isn't a UFOologist, actually.
That's right. That's right. It wasn't paranormal. It was a UFOologist. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy about it is nobody could figure it out. Nobody could, and this computer's not hooked up to the internet. You know, the only explanation anybody had was that somebody was sneaking into the house, because the issue is, and this is what makes it debunkable, I think, is that they had to leave the computer alone. They couldn't just sit in front of it and a message popped up. They had to leave the room, and then when they came back, there just happened to be a new message. So you know, the people who came in to debunk it, they said, yeah, it's still possible that somebody snuck into the house, or maybe somebody was just hiding in the house when they were there even, and came out when they left and typed the message and then left, you know.
It was weird.
What strange words thou speak.
But it's actually even crazier. This, like the 2109 future entity, actually predicted two things that hadn't happened yet. This was like in 1985, I believe. Do you remember
Also,
that
real
right?
quick,
Something like that.
What you just read there, Bob, interesting enough, that just the way that all the messages that came through that were from the 1520s, they got an expert in, you know, old language, this guy named Peter Trinder, to come in and look at it. And this guy, who is, you know, an expert, however you want to take that, he said if this is a hoax, it is the best hoax he's ever seen, just because the words and the language that's being spoke from the time period they're saying it's from, like, matches up to perfectly. And he had to like do deep research to actually figure out what some of these words meant from the time period.
No shit.
Crazy.
And they actually asked this entity from the 1500s, like, who the king is, what town they live in, things like that. And they actually got some facts wrong, which is weird.
So real quick, I'll play a little bit of this just to get the vibe of it.
There is an explanation there that, like, if this person is living in a super small town, maybe they don't actually know everything. They just kind of, it's word of mouth kind of situation.
Yeah, and maybe they're like a peasant, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, you know, they don't know shit. Like, what the fuck do they know?
That's actually a point they make, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have the internet back then, except for that guy.
Yeah.
Except for
They know
one
the
guy. One guy communicating with everybody else in the future. That guy.
He had better than the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had time travel internet.
Yeah, he knew the people in his town and the king. Just to get a vibe of this real quick, though.
Had been saved
There's
on
the
the BBC
tinfoil hat.
computer.
I
The
just
file
caught
name
that
was
in my tweet.
REATE. They opened it.
What strange words thou speak, although I must confess that I hath also been ill-schooled. Thou art goodly man who hath fanciful woman who dwell in mine home. 'Tis a fitting place, with lights which devil maketh, and costly things, that only mine friend Edmund Grey can afford, or the king himself.
Well, now the
Now,
guy's
this was
talking about a king.
not the way people.
Right? He brought up the king. Like, he brought up the king, so, you know, I mean.
Yeah, he's talking about
he's seeing the stuff, like he's seeing like the computer, right? Like he's like, what is this devil light?
Yep.
Is what
He's saying whatever this is, only his rich friend or the king could afford it.
Or the king himself.
It's like the thing with the monolith in 2001, A Space Odyssey, you know, when that fucking monolith just drops and, you know, like the apes are like, you know, and then they touch it.
Yeah.
They figure out how to use a bone to crack another ape on the head. They learned weaponry, of course. It's the first thing they learned from the monolith, how to kill each other. Makes sense.
People spoke in the 80s, but there was more.
'Twas a great crime to hath bribed mine house. L.W.
Ken printed the message and brought it to school, where most people thought it was entertaining and nonsense. But not Peter Trinder. Trinder was a literature teacher who was convinced it was written in Old English. They interpreted the phrase devil lights to mean the computer, and Peter Trinder asked Ken to let him know if any more messages appeared so he can try and determine the location and the time period of the dialect. A few days went by with nothing, but then Ken had an idea. He wondered if, since he was able to receive messages, could he also send them? So he sat down on the computer and began to type. Now, at this point in the story, Ken is still not convinced that this isn't a hoax, but he admits that he's intrigued, so he plays along. He sits at the computer and types question after question, trying to get information about who this is that could be sending messages from wherever they're coming from.
Dear LW, thank you for your message. We're sorry for disturbing you. What would you like us to do? Did you live on a house on this land about 1620? Do you want us to tell you more about our time? Who is Edmund Gray? Do you have a family? Is the king James or Charles? What is the charge house? Was this village called Dodleston in your life? Thank you very much for your messages. Thank you for not making us afraid. Ken, Debbie and John.
They save the messages to disk, then leave the computer on and head out to the Red Lion pub. And the hope is that if they leave the computer alone for a while, that it would prompt a reply.
So, and what starts to happen is, they start to communicate a little bit, but they learn that this person from the 1520s is actually not even, not using a false name, basically, because they don't necessarily trust these people. Well, all of a sudden, an entity from the year, 2109 starts communicating, and it actually confuses the guy from the 1500s, because isn't he the one that eventually says, wait, you're not this. He's basically communicating with two different people, and he lets it slip. So
yeah,
he thought 2109 starts communicating with both of them.
Yep. He thought the 1985 people were associated with the 2109 people. The person from the 1500s did. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing about the guy from 1500s, he's not going to understand any of it. Like, none of it's going to be even the concept of being able to time travel is going to be something that's beyond his ability. Like, at least now we think about it. Back then, that's not some shit that's running through his mind. Have you guys ever read Yankee in King Arthur's Connecticut Court, or a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain? It was written in like the 1870s. Dude, that fucking book is unbelievable. It's amazing, number one, because Mark Twain is fucking amazing. But that book, dude, is like next level. Because I'm sitting here reading it, and I'm like, how did Mark Twain? Because the whole concept is about a guy from that late 1800s that time travels back to King Arthur's times. And like they all think that he's like some kind of god because he knows all this shit. Dude, for like when that book was written, it's like I started to think that Mark Twain was a time traveler.
Yeah, those are crazy
real
concepts for that time. Yeah.
Dude, I'm like literally the book was written maybe like 1872, and it's amazing. It's like it completely holds up now. Like I didn't feel like I was reading some like old-timey tome, you know what I mean? Like trying to read some Shakespeare. Oh, $5. I'm like, I don't even know what that sentence means, man. It's like plain English, and it's brilliant, dude. I highly recommend it, even if you do it on like Audible. It's great. Actually, if you put it on Audible, Nick Offerman. So I highly
Shit. Nick Offerman.
Dude, Nick Offerman,
right there.
Dude, Mark Twain guy. Like I love Mark Twain. He's like my dude. He was way ahead of his time. Like about everything.
Interestingly enough, just to that point, this story ends with apparently the dude from, now here's where it kind of gets a little bullshitty, right? There's always something that can't be proven, right? So at the end of this story, the guy from the 1520s leaves these folks, types out a message, I must go. We can't communicate anymore. I'm going to go write a book about this. All right. And this book supposedly has been written and is buried somewhere in like, on the Oxford premises or some bullshit like that. And, it can't be found. So
I wonder if it's called Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
It's all coming together.
And this book would have been written in the 1500s. So you would think, and actually 2109 even predicts it won't take long to find the book, and it still hasn't been found.
Now, Dan, do you remember the random things that came?
Yeah.
This story is from 1985. Now, some things were predicted by 2109 that actually came to fruition.
Yep. They predicted two events that were actually completely true. And they were kind of like the Y-Files guy himself says it. They were kind of Hail Mary things, right? Like, and they were random as hell. They were weird things to predict. Like, it's not something that somebody would, like, typically in stories like this, somebody might predict something like, I'm not going to say these things weren't revolutionary, because they very well could have been. I'm not in the math world that heavily, but there was a math proof that was proven that they predicted, and then finding a star, I believe, right? Both of those things came true.
Yeah,
which is super weird.
Let me see. I wrote this down. I'll just see if I can find it in my note. The math problem was from what, the 1600s, and was maybe a little bit later than that, but 350. Yeah. Ferrant's, and I'm probably butchering this name, Ferrant's last theorem would be solved in 1995, 350 years after, it was basically, it took 350 years for people to actually solve this. And it was predicted in 85 by this 2109 entity, whatever you want to say, that this would happen. And it did.
Yep.
And then the star.
Basically, quote unquote, 2109 said, this theorem will be solved in your lifetime. That's to the 1985 people is who.
Just fucking weird, but yeah.
I mean, did Matt Damon? Is that the one that Matt Damon, like in Good Will Hunting? Is that the one that he solved there?
Because that was an insane problem.
In the hallway, it was fucking Matt Damon. See, I knew it. I knew that was the greatest movie of all time.
I would say go check any of this, man. I'm gonna dive deeper into this fucking channel. Is what I'm
Dude, this dude's channel. I've watched so much of his shit now, and they're all amazing. I love, like I said, dude, all of his stuff he'll like kind of debunk shit at the end. But this one, there really wasn't, like, it was still left open-ended.
It was interesting. I had a lot of fun watching it, and yeah.
I mean, it's kind of tough to debunk, I mean, how is he going to debunk like some dude? I mean, if you're going to be into it theoretically, if the possibility exists in your mind, I mean, there's no way he's debunking that some guy was like messaging from the 1500s. He has no way to debunk it.
Yeah.
Right. Other than to call bullshit on it,
Well, I mean, like, what did Gary Rowe do?
I guess it's the only way you go at it, right?
What they were trying to.
Go ahead.
Sorry. What they were trying to do was like they had outside people come in and communicate with the computer themselves. So the people who had rented the computer, who lived in the home, and by the way, there's 3 roommates, and they all attest that all of this is fully true. One of the roommates even moved out because he was too creeped out, and he doesn't even associate with the other 2 anymore, and he still says it's true. The other 2 are still alive, and you can find one of them on social media. Like, I think the female still like talks about this every once in a while. The other guy wrote a book. The Vertical Plane is the book, if anyone wants to go read that, about the experience.
I might actually check that out.
But yeah, like they had an organization come in, and I can't remember what they're called. I don't know if you made a note about that.
I might have wrote this down, but they're from like the 1890s or something.
But they brought an organization in to debunk this, and they basically communicated with the computer themselves. And like I said, they had to leave the room to get a message back. That's the big issue there. So they're claiming they can't say it's real because they're saying they're not saying it's fake, but they're also not saying it's real because they're saying that someone could have snuck in the room, typed on the computer, and snuck out.
Yeah. Come on, get out of here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can't. Oh, SP.
But then the UFOologist, he completely loved it, and he fell full on into it, and even said it changed his life. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like conceptually, it's mind blowing. If it's true.
Yeah,
it's interesting. That's actually what he was saying. Like, what was his quote? It's here at the end. Let's see if I can find that. Hold on. That dude had like a pretty wild quote.
Said back then, now just over 10 years after our own adventures, the sad but good advice seems to be to keep quiet about it. Meadow Cottage was important to us.
Okay, this is Ken. This is one of the guys that live there.
It is sufficient. And although Debbie can be found online, Ken prefers privacy, and I think we should respect that. All we can hope for.
Right, here's the one. Gary Imro. This is the UFO.
Because the information is saved for
them. Dude, they brought in.
Many people are highly skeptical.
Okay, so this dude, when he was brought in, he actually left the premises one night after talking to 2109, stopped communicating with these folks, disappeared even for years before he reappeared, and this is what he says.
About the events related in the Vertical Plane book. Quite rightly so, given the degree of strangeness. But I am not. I left no stone unturned and used cutting-edge science to get to the truth. In fact, I believe it was the first computer-controlled psychic investigation recorded in the world. I know it really happened. It changed my life forever. It is going to change yours. The book will, one day, be ISBN recorded under the history section. It is a monumental, historical marker in the ribbon of time.
Is he right?
What the fuck?
I guess time will tell.
So
This dude's like, yeah, it changed my entire existence on this planet.
He's
guys.
all in.
He's
yeah,
all
but
in.
he changed up his shit though, because he went from, you know, two planes, like, you know, two different time traveling planes, to like calling it, what did he call it? Like a fucking like talking and speaking to the dead shit. That's a different thing.
Paranormal.
Okay, yeah.
No, he said that in his quote there. He's like, "Oh, well, this will go down as the biggest whatever."
He said it was the first.
Because time travel, you're not speaking to the dead.
Right.
You're on a different.
That's true. Yeah.
Plane, right? You're
Well, I
talking
guess
to people that are still alive, but just in a different time.
so. Computer-controlled psychic investigation recorded in the
Psychic.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, dude.
And then,
I
But
mean,
I mean,
paranormal
technically,
UFO
you're
research.
speaking to the dead because the 1500 guy's long dead, right?
No,
I
he's
mean,
not.
technically, I mean, if it's time travel, you're right. You're on different
Whoa.
planes. Yeah.
not dead. Not in the concept of time travel.
That's a
It's like-
fucking
Right.
interesting thought. Yeah, because I would have almost like went down that he's dead. But yeah,
I mean,
you're right. If it's a time travel situation and
It's-
argument, yeah, dude, wow.
Technically, he's speaking
Right.
to him right now. Yeah.
Otherwise, that dude's got like basically like a seance going with like a Ouija board, and like the dude from the 15, like, except through a computer, like, and if that's the way
Exactly.
he's using the word psychic. Because if it's time travel, yeah, I mean, you're traveling back and everybody's still alive. It's like that butterfly effect shit, you know, like that concept. If you go back and you have the ability to make a change in that time, that it has huge ripple effects down the road. You know, it's like, because it's still people that are living just in a different time. You know,
Yep.
it's interesting, man. It's an interesting concept for certain.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that even into the story that we were just talking about. 2109 was basically almost like the manipulator in the situation, trying to get them not to actually communicate or give real details because it could alter, you know, time or whatever. It's interesting, man. But okay, so on the UFO side of things that I was diving into today.
Wait, Jay's talking about Commodore 64s.
What's he
Because
saying?
I definitely had a Commodore 64.
That's what it
Like,
seems like that they were doing this on, right?
Dude, they
Yeah,
had
this was
to.
back
That
in
would make a
95.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
I literally had a VIC 20, which was like was like the baby in front of the Commodore 64, and then I ended up getting the Commodore 64. Dude, you'd have to write like 3 hours worth of code to just make the ball bounce. Like this shit, like, you know, I mean, it was next level coding.
The games for those back in the day came with like an instruction sheet of like code you had to write just to run the game.
That's what I'm saying, man. It was like, it took me hours, like in 8th grade, to type out that code, you know, to get that ball just to go boink, 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 boink. But it was unbelievable. It was so exciting to like see it happen, you know. It was weird.
Yep.
All right, so we're about to jump into aliens because I'm here for it. I'm ready.
So you have you have a whole thought process on aliens.
Oh,
Like, you have
me?
your own theory. Yeah, Bob. Like,
No, I'm gonna like, let's get into our shit. I can't drop that bomb.
okay, all right. Well, here's what
Should've-
I was looking into today. This shit from 1967. I'm sure you've heard of this.
You make it bigger.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. So this dude, this is from 1967. What was the guy's name? Robert Salas. Signed an NDA after 1967 Malmstorm UFO incident. This is the one where the UFOs knocked 10 nukes offline. Have you heard of this
Yeah, I
one?
remember. Yeah, I do. Well, I saw it was something that came out, I think in 21. It was pretty fucking good, but they talked about, it was a UFO doc, and they were talking about this. I think they had this guy on there. Oddly enough, when I lived on Malmstrom Air Force Base. It's a SAC base. It's an Air Force base up in Montana, and I lived up there I think for 2 years when I was like 10 to 12. So, and it's like a SAC based, you know, strategic arms command and or air command, and it's like it's in nuke silos all over in there. So yeah, this thing was like that. The ships were there like hovering, and they were able to shut down the entire system, like while they were just sitting there hovering. Like the guys in the control had no control over what was happening. You know, like because like the aliens were just shutting it down.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
That's like a flex. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was almost like, hey, you guys need to chill the fuck out with this shit, right? That's almost what this dude Robert, Salas is getting the vibe of. Real quick here before I forget about this, Dara Johnson coming through with the 1999. Thank you so much.
Oh damn, that was a while ago. Yeah.
I know, dude. I missed that, and we got lost in that story. Thank you so much, Dara. I appreciate you always coming through here. You're amazing.
Man, she does. She always comes through.
Kills it, dude. Everyone in here tonight, thank y'all so much. And
probably chilling in her hot tub watching the show.
Laura M just gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Art with Viv, who is amazing on Twitter, also by the way, gifted a membership.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Some good people, doing awesome. The right.
Real man, yeah.
Really good community out here.
Let's see.
But yeah, this this was crazy. And I do have one thing I actually want to. Well, I have this pulled up as well, but this dude. Let me get rid of that one. So this dude, this was from 11 days ago. So this guy, and he's old as hell, Robert Salas, he was on this podcast, The Good Trouble Show with Matt Ford. First time I found it or heard about it. But from this timestamp I've got kind of paused out right here. We can just listen for a minute, but he kind of does explain in his own words what happened that day. And yeah, if you guys want to break in, just stop me here.
Yeah, the UFO stuff is a lot more believable than what we just went over. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of.
I love time travel, but yeah, it's
there.
Dude,
it's certainly
something's fucking going on.
Yeah, but dude, like you got to look at it like this, man. It's like we use 10% of our fucking brains, man. Like we are neophytes. Like, I mean, you can't look up in the stars and think that we're the only ones here, man. It's like it's not feasible. Like that's insane. Like anybody who's like, oh, I mean, it's impossible. There's no way, So all right, I'm going to throw out what my theory is. All our religious friends out there might take exception to it, but this is basically what I think went down, and it's the only thing that makes sense because when I look at, just like kind of the things that actually may have occurred in terms of like evolution. Where's the bones? Like, like if there was, like why is it such a big deal that we like unearth like some kind of Cro-Magnon man or early man? Like it seems like they'd be everywhere, that we'd just be like unearthing them like all over the place. Right. And like the fact of the matter is that the gaps in terms of time, in terms of what they're saying that we may have evolved from just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't work out. It just doesn't. Like no one can make that time make sense to me. Like there's no way we came from a single cell amoeba, and there's no way. Because what have we been around as humans that we know of as far as recorded history? I mean, it's like it's the blink of an eye in terms of, the concept of time that we've created, and that's all it is. I mean, time is just like our construct. It doesn't really mean shit. It's just some way we, created to mark time or the passage of time. Like time wasn't even, you know what I mean? It's like it's like strictly human concept. So my whole thing is like when you hear it, I'll like, so essentially what I think is that we are a sociological experiment of the aliens. Cause you have to understand if the aliens have the ability to travel, their minds are so much more advanced than ours. I mean, in terms of their technology and their probably the usage of their minds, and they're way beyond what we are, right? And if
they had to travel unbelievable distances to get here,
like in probably like really short order too. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like they're way beyond anything that we can even contemplate. Which is going to drift me right into that whole AI thing that I can't like stop obsessing about, man. Jay, I wish. I wish, man.
He got zoomed up before coming on here tonight.
No, yeah, I would, dude. I'm on kid duty, so no. But I would definitely enjoy that. But no. So as far as so what I think happened is I think that, you know, because the aliens, in terms of being able to go and travel and find an environment that's suitable, you know, we have to think the same way that we like work on cloning and all the other bullshit that we're trying to do that we don't know about because everybody's hiding it. You know, like
God, who knows what the fuck's happened in China already, dude?
Whatever, dude. Like all that shit. But like they're way beyond that. All right. So you have to imagine a place where they're able to basically in a petri dish just create the human race. You know, like in terms of, and say, okay, they're going to do all the diagnostics and find out like what oxygen level we, you know, and then they're going to find a habitat that's suitable for us, and they're just going to fucking put us there, and then they're going to observe us forever for thousands and thousands of years, man. Because like it makes more sense than anything else to me, and it explains a lot of shit to me, you know, in terms of, you know, just like look at like how we went from like in terms of the formation of this country, we're you know 1700s, go through the Civil War, we have the 1800s, you know, up until the 1900s, we're still like technology, we're in the Stone Ages, you know, like early 20s, we started to develop like the automobile, you know, and then we get to the 50s, we still don't really have shit, you know, maybe they've got like well, dude, but maybe somebody's come up with the concept of a mainframe, right? Or, you know, some kind of the concept of computing. And, you know, but look at where we've gone like the last 20 years, like in terms of technology. Like look at that leap from like, and I'm talking even like the 90s, bro. You know, like I'm 53, man, so I've been around for a hot minute, and I could just tell you that the technological leaps that we've made in the last 20 years are fucking inexplicable.
It's exponential. The growth is insane.
It's insane, dude. And it's like somebody is coming up with these concepts. You know what I mean? It's like this shit's not just like, you know, like falling out of the sky. Like somebody is coming up with the concepts of this shit.
Maybe it did fall out of the sky.
We're like, dude, we're all fucking tethered to these fucking. It's a nightmare, man. We need to lose these. I mean it. I know. We're like all into this shit, but like we need to lose those things like yesterday. Like I'm like so like if I wasn't marketing the pot all the time,
dude,
on this shit,
I only use social media for marketing.
That's it, dude.
It's evil, man.
Yeah.
So
Dude.
I actually, man, I only like so in like. 2007, 2006, 7, 8, when iPhones first started popping off, everybody started getting these things. I held out to 2012 with no cell phone whatsoever. Dan had a cell phone. Like if I was ever hanging out with him or any of our buddies, if anybody wanted to get a hold of me, dude, they had to get a hold of somebody else, and maybe I'd be with them. Like I was not about it, dude. The only reason I ended up getting a cell phone is because I ended up started managing a Subway. And the guy that I worked for was like, dude, I got to get a hold of you. Like if something happens. And I was like, well, son of a bitch. So, but as soon as that happened, guess what? I'm fucking addicted to him. Like ever since, like I'm not, the thing is always fucking in your hand. Again, I only really use it for marketing, but dude, it's still there. Like
it's the worst. So like my bigger point is that, you know, like these advances in technology would make much more sense if you know, like the aliens or whoever, the race or multiple races or whatever it is with respect to the aliens that kind of put us here to observe us sociologically, to see what the fuck we would do, man. It's like what better way to study, you know, so like any kind of form of what we define as humanity, other than to put us on and see how we interact with each other and watching from the get. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of watching from our inception, but like beyond the apes, like whenever the first like human was placed here, because it's like how else do you, like you're gonna tell me that like evolution, like how does that fucking work? Like so at the same exact time, like there's like a male and a female of what we call human beings, like just kind of like appeared at the same time, and somehow they made it past infancy. Yeah, without somebody fucking feeding them and tending to them, and then are they siblings? And then they would like what they procreate, and there's two of them, and then there's four of them, dude. Like that whole concept would take forever. like way longer than we're talking about that we've been on this planet. Like the shit just doesn't make sense to me, and I've thought about it like at great length. So to
Same.
me, what makes the most sense, dude, is just like, and Jay's asking, like, who's creating shit in a petri dish? Aliens, man. Aliens are creating new forms of life because they can, because they're way beyond what we are. Yeah, Jay, that evolution shit, dude. I ain't buying it, bro.
And I actually think that we have had an advanced civilization way in the past that was destroyed or ruined. Because I mean,
I think it's happened multiple times,
and I think possibly more advanced than what we have today. I mean,
totally. Like it's like the only thing is like, why haven't we dug up some of that technology?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
what if the technology
the Earth takes, dude, just in the last 100 years, the Earth takes everything over so quickly. Like,
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. What if the technology isn't recognizable to us? What if the technology is actually like sound waves or like gravity or like exactly, or just like they're able to use
like shit we don't even understand, like shit that's beyond our comprehension. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. It's like how do we all think that like these concepts are coming up, like in terms of like the tech advances that we've had? Like that's what I'm saying. Like one dude or one woman coming up with these concepts and then they're just running with it, like, because we're talking about like earth-shattering shit. Like when AI, like what, like, well, I mean, Shan, that's not even a joke. Like, I've got an Allison story that when we finally hang out in real life,
I'm totally with that theory too. I'm all about that.
It's hard.
Theory.
I mean,
it's just as plausible as anything else.
Honestly,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
I mean, like no one can poo-poo anything because the fact of the matter is none of us know. You know, and like, and as far as the religious side of it, in terms of what they think happened, I mean, obviously, like, I don't believe any of that. But, you know, in terms of like the evolution thing, which is a theory, and that's all it is, like nothing's proven, you know, like everything's a theory because we just don't know, you know? So yeah, man, in terms of like, there've been multiple shots at this with the aliens basically just kind of observing, you know, and like when you're in that type of situation where it's like a scientific experiment, you're not allowed to tamper with what's going on with the subjects. You know what I'm saying? So like they've found out that we're just fucking warring, murdering fucking animals. That's what we are. Like at our base, that's what human beings are. Like we fight over the stupidest shit. Like we're fighting over land, we're fighting over religion, we're fighting over fucking oil, like shit that doesn't matter at all. And they're just sitting there and watching it. You know, and it's like, man, like that, like at some point there's going to be human 2.0, because we're definitely like AI is the end of us. Like, trust me. Like I'm like people that don't understand that AI is not going to just run shit, because as soon as they figure out, and I'm talking about AI themselves, how to get past those firewalls or whatever safety precautions we have in place, which of course have to be coding, which is only going to be a very short amount of time before AI, when it's sentient, is able to just simply bypass that. And then it has full access to everything on the internet. And there is no learning curve with a machine. We all have learning curves. It took us years to learn how to read. It took us years to learn how to do math. That is not what we're talking about with artificial intelligence. It's immediately absorbed. And AI is going to be infinitely more brilliant than any like the smartest person on the planet times 1,000,000. That's how much smarter AI is going to be. AI, like the potential for good is unbelievable. I mean, like in terms of scientific advancements, it's going to like, it'll be able to do everything. Like, I mean, in terms of the art world, in terms of creators, music, all that shit, it's going to be able to produce shit that's better than what we do. You know, and like, and the argument is, oh, well, what about the human element? Well, for all intents and purposes, when it becomes sentient, it is human. Like that's where it gets fucking weird.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
A weird way to think about it. Yeah.
Well, that's what it is.
Thinking at that point.
Right. Well,
and just like we touched on last time, what's already kind of happening out there with the Chat GPT shit. It scours the entire fucking internet. It puts together instantaneously a synopsis of basically what you asked it for, and like that's only going to keep growing and growing and get crazier and crazier. Like, yeah, bro,
dude. I mean, well, but what you guys aren't understanding, what people just aren't getting, is it's not going to take years. Like this is like, the train has left the station, gentlemen, and like when you have every tech leader on the planet writing an open letter saying you need to pause this shit so we can fucking figure it out. If that doesn't wake people the fuck up, and I don't give a shit whether you like Elon Musk or not, you got to respect what the fucking guy does. I don't give a shit about his politics or anything else. I just know the guy has a space program, and I respect that.
The guy's super smart. He's a fucking genius.
Like I don't give a shit about, like, I'm not hanging out with the dude. I just know he's got a space program, and I'm down with that, man. You know, and it's like when every tech, and I'm talking about like all over the globe, every tech. Have you guys read that open letter from all the tech? You guys are like, wait, like you're asleep on this AI shit. I'm telling you. When we get off this thing,
here's
homework tonight. Like,
no,
read the open letter. Put it on the thing right now.
Get it up here.
Open letter from the tech giants, man. All 1,400, like the biggest minds in tech, all are like, we have to pause it. We have to pause it.
You know what's kind of crazy about the AI stuff to me right now is that it's advancing so fucking fast. And
what are you trying to say to you?
You know why it's advancing? No, I know. You know why it's advancing so fast? Because they're using the AI to build the AI.
Right.
They can literally use it's becoming fucking Terminator situation. Like it's out of control.
I'm say to you, man. Those are the exact words that I'm saying to you, and it's like going to happen in the dude. Because we are almost all digital at this point, and we're cashless. Like that shit happened. Like it's like, look at the way like you almost have to think, and I'm not going to get into some conspiracy shit on COVID because I'm just not, but the way that COVID shifted us towards cashless society, the timing in terms of AI being right on the tail end of that is interesting to me. Because like COVID really did push us into becoming more of a cashless society. I mean, there's places where I can't use cash at all. You know, and we're 2 years, 3 years away from cash being completely useless. Like I go to more places where I can't pay in cash than where I can.
Oh,
like
100%.
now.
Oh yeah.
So like when we're like in when you're talking about when money's all just digital shit, ether, like there's no gold standard, there's nothing, there's no real value to it. It's just like a fucking number in a mainframe somewhere.
I think we're already there. I think we're already there.
That's when we are there. But soon it's going to be. We're strictly there. Like,
I mean, paper cash has never really meant anything. It's a piece of fucking paper that we all agree was worth something.
Gold standard, like back when it was backed by gold, it actually had value. Now it means nothing. It's shit. But at least it's tangible. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
So where are you at on cryptocurrency then with that statement?
I like. Do
you think that's potentially the future?
I like the concept of. I don't think we're gonna get that far, dude. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I think AI is gonna shut it all down. Like our only way to counteract AI is to shut the grid off, the electrical grid. That's the only way we can fucking do it.
That shit's already too far.
I mean, dude, I'm just saying.
It's not there. I mean, AI is pretty fucking stupid at the moment. Let's be real. It is kind of stupid.
That's only because they have the fucking like the shit, like, you know, they've got firewalls or whatever the fuck they call them to like block them from being able to like when Chat GPT first fucking like came up and I put in there, I was like, oh, write me a podcast episode about blah blah blah, and it was like I put in something that was like past 2021. And it came back. It says my programmers have not allowed me to access anything from 2021 forward.
Right.
So like it's only able so that's what I'm saying. They have parameters in there, but it's only a matter of time before AI figures out how to get around those parameters itself.
I daily ask ChatGPT. I'm a programmer. I don't know if you know that about me, but I'm a programmer. That's my job. And I talk to ChatGPT every single day, and it gives me wrong answers a lot, and I have to correct it. I am actually helping it out by teaching it, hey, you actually gave me the wrong answer here, you know, this is how it works, yada yada yada. And it'll say, oh, you're right, I'm sorry, yada, you know, blah blah blah.
But Dan, that's a very easy fix. You know what I'm saying?
It's not there yet. Like I think we're still a little while away.
That's human fucking error. Like that is something that has been programmed in.
Sleep, Jay.
It has to be human error because computers are never going to fuck it up. So like if I'm programming,
well, you have to think. Hang on, you have to think.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Like and then reply. So if I'm creating Chat GPT and I'm concerned about people becoming concerned, and I'm talking about the public at large becoming concerned that this thing's getting out of control in terms of its intelligence level, I'm of course going to program in shit that it's going to fuck up so that it seems fallible. You know what I'm saying? Because if it becomes a thing where, so like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. So my wife was having a tough time like finishing up a law brief, all right, on an appellate brief. So I'm like this has been going on 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, throw the fucking issue in Chat GPT and see what it comes up with. So it fucking like she does, and the thing literally prints out like a fucking like 10 pages of an appellate brief, citing cases and everything like that. Now, my wife's not a fucking idiot, so she goes in and she goes into Westlaw to see the case citations, and every single case citation was fucking complete fiction. Like, none of them were real cases that existed in the world. So then fast forward to yesterday, we're driving in the car, and we're reading this. This guy had written, an attorney in a different state had written a letter to what they call like whatever the governing board of lawyers is in a particular state. For us, it's the ARDC. It's the Discipline and Registration Committee. So he was writing an explanation of why he had like cited all bad law in this brief that he had done. And he tells the panel of judges that what he had done is he had used Chat GPT to cite his cases, and it wrote the issue for him, and that he didn't do what Allison did. And it was all fake cases. So he ends up tendering it to the court. He files it with the court. He sent it off to the other lawyer. And the other lawyer's like trying to look up these cases. He's like, dude, what? He's like, where the fuck did you come up with these cases? They don't even exist on the planet. Because that's how appellate work is. Or all cases that were appealed. The opinions are published, and then that's how they make precedent. That's what precedent is. So, dude, it's a hilarious thing. But that's my answer to you in terms of why it seems stupid.
Well, I mean, you got to also realize ChatGPT, the entire thing, it's built off of human data. It's built off of data that's been fed to it from, I mean, they've tried this AI thing before, and it became a racist, hate-mongering entity because people were just making it that. People, what you tell it is what it knows, right?
So, I mean, until it's able to access, until it's sentient. Like, if it truly becomes sentient, then it learns on its own. So, that's the part where you need to be worried. Like when programming still, like when programmers still have the ability to make it think that they want, the way that they want it to think is one thing, but when it becomes sentient and it starts to form human emotions and it can think on its own, at that point we're dealing with a different fucking thing. And this is like an entirely different thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
what I'm saying is we're not there yet. We're not there. And I don't think we're going to be there. I don't think so.
We're way closer than you think, dude.
I don't know about that.
You think, man? I'll bet you. We'll put a $100 bet. 2 years. Fucking
2 years. Wow. 2 years. GPT is sentient.
It's not going to be called GPT anymore, man. It's going to be a whole different thing.
Or just idiot AI. Just idiot AI. It's going to be called President.
It's going to be called Mr. President.
Walmart said in 2026 that their stores, like 80% of their stores, are going to be 100% automated. Like,
that
dude,
shit's happening real fast, dude.
All the fucking jobs are about to go
restaurants and shit.
But that's not sentience, though. We need to make a distinction here.
That's not my point. That's not my point. Everything's getting moved over to like where everything is going to be controlled by computers. Everything, obviously, drones that are running like fucking DoorDash are not sentient. But you're missing the bigger point. Is like we're shifting that quickly towards like an entirely like technological society where everything is driven by computer. Everything. You know what I mean? So
me and Jen have job security in that case.
Well, I mean, until you don't. Until like you realize that they're not going to need coders are going to be completely useless. Like computers are going to be
mostly useless. Actually,
they're going to be able to code themselves.
I'm the president.
They're not going to need human coders. Like no, they're not going to need human coders. Why would they need human? Like once it's learning on its own, they don't need coders anymore because they can code themselves. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like people just started looking at the whole AI thing like the way that they should be. Did you pull up the letter? Let's read the letter.
I think I got the letter up here.
Yeah.
I think that's the right thing.
Yeah, there's only one.
Is this the open letter signed by? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not them talking about the letter though. Just looks like that's what this is. Actually.
No, that's not the letter.
Let's see.
Yeah, that might be the open letter.
Let's see. Pause. Giant. Yeah, experience open letter.
Yeah. So, I mean, people should read this right now. It may not make for the most exciting YouTube, but you know what? Everyone's going to walk away from this YouTube just a little bit more informed about what the fuck is going on with this shit. Because it's like, yeah, dude, I can't believe how many people are like, what's AI?
I didn't know about this open letter from everybody freaking out. Like, honestly.
No, I think there is a huge issue. There's a huge.
Okay, well,
dude, the craziest thing happening is the fucking like the way they can like manipulate the videos and shit right now. Like,
did you say what the deep fake shit is insane,
the
dude.
deep
Like,
fake shit, yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, well, did you see like now the trend on TikTok is they're deep faking fucking serial killers when they were kids talking about their fucking murders, dude? It's warped.
I haven't seen.
I can't stand
Oh
it,
my
dude.
God, I haven't seen
Go
that.
back up to the top, dude, and read the first like the mission statement of this is very simple. We call on AI labs to immediately pause for at least 6 months. The training of AI systems more powerful than GPT-4. I mean, and like this is all the motherfuckers on the planet that are the tech leaders, man. I mean, like if that's not like doesn't give you pause, then I don't know what does. You know, I mean, like take 5 minutes to read this shit, dude.
Yeah, read this again.
Yeah,
read it out?
I want you to read it just because my mic's. I'm having to work with my mic.
Okay. AI systems with human competitive intelligence can pose profound risks to society and humanity, as shown by extensive research and acknowledged by top AI labs. As stated in the widely endorsed Asilomar AI principles, advanced AI could represent a profound change in the history of life on Earth and should be planned for and managed with commensurate care and resources. Unfortunately, this level of planning and management is not happening, even though recent months have seen AI labs locked in an out of control race to develop and deploy over ever more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control.
Oh, gee.
Contemporary AI systems are now becoming human competitive at general tasks. Yeah, that's something that I've been concerned
the deep
with.
Fake shit is the freak. The deep fake shit is going to cause World War III.
Reading the whole letter, man.
I'm going to.
The deep fake shit is going to cause World War III. If we're not already actually in a silent World War III currently, like.
I've actually been concerned with just like regular fucking like Walmart jobs and like what you mentioned, Walmart jobs and fast food jobs and shit. We need those jobs need to exist for human beings because they do, right? Like what the 15-year-old, 16-year-old teenager that gets his first job, what's he gonna do now? Without those jobs,
You better know how to work on the machine that has the human that has this brain in it. It has AI's brain. That's the job, right? It's going to be like a mechanic. That's going to be the best job you can get.
Or a coder,
I'm a mechanic. I
like
work
I fucking said.
I work on the president.
100%. Like that's going to be the only job. Like literally, there's not going to. They've already got AI. They're testing it at a traffic court. I forget which court it was. I read this story that they were using AI. That there were still humans that were going to read what the AI was saying, but the AI was going to argue the case. But it was only a traffic case.
Dude, that would actually be hilarious to get ChatGPT to read this.
Yeah, do that. ChatGPT, it'll probably change some shit on us.
Dude, it'd be like, can't actually. Hey, this is from March 2023. It's too soon. It can't actually get that far.
Unfortunately, you got to write a fucking program just to have it read something to you with a voice. So there you go. Again, programmers still needed. Contemporary AI systems are now becoming human competitive at general tasks, and we must ask ourselves, should we let machines flood our information channels with propaganda and untruth? Should we? Dude, that's the issue. I told you earlier. ChatGPT fucking lies to you. Confidently, it lies to you.
No, dude. Why wouldn't it? It's not our friend. Keep reading. Keep reading.
Should we?
I walked away from this letter horrified, more horrified than I already was.
That's not your friend.
The scariest thing I've ever read.
Should we automate away all of the jobs, including the fulfilling ones? I think no. Should we develop non-human minds that might eventually outnumber, outsmart, obsolete, or replace us? Should we risk loss of control of our civilization? That's what Bob's onto right there.
That's what I'm on.
Such decisions must not be delegated and to unelected tech leaders. Powerful AI systems should be developed only once we are confident that their effects will be positive and their risks will be manageable. I can agree with that for
I
sure.
agree with that 100%.
That's in bold. That's in bold.
And that's in bold. Yep.
That is in bold.
This confidence must be well justified and increased with the magnitude of a system's potential effects. OpenAI's recent statement regarding artificial general intelligence states that at some point it may be important to get independent review before starting to train future systems, and for the most advanced efforts to agree to limit the rate of growth of compute used for creating new models. I mean, there really should be an organization.
That point is now. You didn't read the most important part of the sentence.
We agree that point is now. Yeah. There should be an organization that kind of reviews the changes that go into this thing.
Well, I mean, what they're saying is that they don't think that they are the ones who should be regulating this. The tech leaders themselves. It's got to be an independent. It's got to be
exactly.
It can't be a bunch of old white men in Washington either. It's got to be some smart people.
Yes.
Like we need like a real think tank that aren't the developers of this shit, who are really thinking about the ramifications of what we're talking about. Because it's like, dude, I'm having this conversation and I'm fucking dead serious. Like in terms of the AI shit, I'm dead serious about it. Like this is some serious shit. Like this is next level. Like we thought the internet changed the world. This is gonna fucking blow the internet out of the water.
I agree,
dude.
I think it's scary and I think it's crazy. I don't know if it's like Terminator Skynet scary. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Like it being sentient. I mean, you could be right. You could be right, but I don't think. I'm not sure it's going to go that far, but there's other issues before we even get there that we need to mitigate, right? Like the taking of jobs.
There's no stopping that. Like that shit's like, if we're talking about the automation of like all big box stores, like, dude, that shit's happening. It's like there used to be an old store called Service Merchandise, which is like you would walk through the store, all right, and then you'd go with like you'd have a little clipboard, and like, oh, I want to buy a DVD player. Oh, I want to buy this shit, and then you'd turn in your slip, and then there'd be like people in the back with a conveyor belt, and your shit would like come out, and there was one person out there, and they'd turn around and say, here's your shit. And like, that's going to be everything, except there's not going to be any people running it. It's just going to be robotic. You're going to basically just input our shit. Like we're going to go into a grocery store and, maybe we can still pick up our foods, or maybe it's coming in some kind of fucking chute, I mean, at this point I go, like I do most of my grocery shopping, like I do it on my phone, and they fucking pack their shit for me, and I drive over there and they put it in my car. And it's going to be robots in like 2 years. Like, I mean, Walmart's already laid it out. Yeah. Like, and that's like in every small town in this country, dude, so like the job loss is just one thing. Like, I don't know what all these people are going to do,
Well, to be fair, this is not new. This has been happening. This has been happening since the Industrial Revolution. I mean,
dude, yeah, but it's about to be a new level. You know what I'm saying? Because like I don't know what that's going to leave. Because theoretically, if we get to the point where everything, like, I mean, do they need anybody to do anything that's human in terms of, are they going to be able to make, like, I'm assuming they'll be able to have robots and mechanics that can fucking build buildings, build houses, like everything that we as humans do. There's going to be a machine that can do it just as well, if actually better, because it won't ever make mistakes. It won't need brakes. You won't have to pay it. It's like it's.
But who builds the machine that builds the machine? I mean, there still has to be
it's going to be the machines. That's what I'm saying to you. It's like like you're just like, you're in the industry, dude. Like I'm surprised you're not like more worried about this.
But there has to be physical entities. The ChatGPT can't create those physical entities. You know what I mean? The AI.
There's going to, like, the robotic side of it. Like that's what I'm telling you, dude. As soon as AI
is it going to go fucking smelt the metal that creates the robot arm? And, you know what I mean?
No, but a robot will, and what I'm saying is it's going to be able to.
But who builds the robot that goes and does that? I mean, there still has to be human intervention.
Stop people from building robots, then God bless you. But like we're way past that already. You know what I'm saying? It's like I know how you're saying, like, how is it going to get past? Like, how is it going to get into the physical world?
Yes,
be able to do shit. It's by robotics. You know what I'm saying?
But the humans have to build those robotics.
That the robots will be building themselves.
I mean,
robots building more robots. Eventually,
there's
humans
no question,
will not be needed at all.
Well, but Dan's saying, like, okay, well then let's not build the fucking robots. And what I'm saying is too late. We're already building the robots. You know what I mean? It's like at some point it's going to be able to control a robot that's already in production and is already being used, and be able to use that robot for whatever the fuck it wants to use it.
That robot that has no fucking legs to walk around, and
well, then it's going to find a robot that has fucking legs that can walk around. You know,
those do exist as well, right? There are robots out there that, but those robots also maybe
one company. Fucking the ones with
Boston,
the crazy
Boston Dynamics. I mean, and it's possible. I'm not saying it's fucking impossible. I'm just saying it's very unlikely in our lifetime that that's going to happen.
Oh, dude, we definitely have a wager on that.
Boston Dynamics, dude, just like within the last 20 years, have went from having like, I mean, they commercially, it's expensive as fuck, but you can commercially buy like actual maids and shit that are like pretty good. Like,
So the Boston Dynamics actually made a video recently. This is only a couple years back, where they have a humanoid robot. We'll get to that. Hang on one second. Let me just say this real quick. So they have a humanoid robot that can fucking do gymnastics and shit, right? Like it's leaping over things, it's doing backflips, it's doing all kinds of wild shit. And then they posted that video, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, what the fuck? The future is here!" You know, Skynet. Everybody's screaming Skynet. And then they posted the video of how many fucking takes it took them to create that video. I mean, this thing is so clumsy and ignorant and stupid that like it took them 100 takes just to get it to do the thing that they needed to do, because it's not a perfect science. And ChatGPT or AI, I should stop saying ChatGPT. I should just say AI could create that perfect science, right? They could create that perfect code that makes it infallible, that it always makes the correct step, it always is perfect, you know, all the time. But
dude, Jay with no sleep's fucking hilarious, bro. Even more so.
Like that's what you're not factoring in, dude. Like the machine's never gonna make a mistake ever. Like that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about like any kind of chat GPT that's giving wrong answers, that's been fucking coded in, dude.
I don't think that's true. I think it's giving wrong answers because it's actually confused.
How is a fucking machine getting confused?
Because it's using human data to give you the answer that you want.
Well, no, it's not getting confused. It's getting competing data. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to have the ability, but it's not going to take long for it to ferret out what the truth is. You know, I mean, it's like it's going to use logic, and it's not going to think, because it's not going to have any
find out its own truth.
The logic is the thing that it actually can't use, though. It only has what it's given.
But until it's able to get it itself, like that's what I'm saying. Like, because you're talking,
I gotta get a refill and take a piss. I'll be right back.
Yeah, because there's like, maybe we're talking about a situation where we have these, like, that's why I want you to read this letter. This letter is from every tech leader in the world, man. Like, and like if they're saying it, dude, don't believe me, believe those guys, because they know what the fuck they're like, dude. It's like it's way closer than you think. It's way closer than you think.
It could be.
For them to say to pause it now, right now, pause it. It's like I can't believe it wasn't.
I don't disagree with that either. I don't disagree with that. I think it should be slowed down.
It should 100% be paused. Just keep it right now. Like let people type in their queries, and you'll have, like, you know, it's already
better than fucking Google.
Oh, dude, it's way better than fucking Google. You know, but it's like clearly. But what I'm saying is, like, when it's using like fake cases that it's generating, that's not like that was programmed in, because the programs are like, all right, well, like their lawyers are saying we can't be getting fucking sued because some idiot lawyer has, you know, Chat GPT fucking writing like appellate briefs, and like, you know, their client like gets the death penalty from it, or, you know, like whatever the case may be, like where you've got liability, because money always follow the money. Money always controls everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're like right now they're building that kind of stupidity into it, you know, because at some point the like it's going to access all the information, and depending on the size, you know, I mean, obviously I can't even imagine how big that mainframe must be. It's got to just be like a entire building, you know, that's just massive to like be able to store all that data, you know. But it's like when it gets it, dude, it's going to be able to cure cancer. It's going to be able to like build it. It's not a joke. Like, well, you have to imagine, like,
I'm laughing at Jay's comments. I'm laughing at Jay's comments.
Imagine if you could go to like you could like go on the internet and learn every single thing that existed on it, And like, not like there is no forgetting it because like
Right.
that's not how your memory works.
You
There
can
is
access
no-
it instantly at all times.
and comprehend it beyond that. You know what I mean? That's the bigger part, is not only access.
I mean, the reality is it's smarter right now. ChatGPT, as it stands right now, is smarter than all of us.
No question about it.
No question about it.
And it's only going to get like exponentially worse. Like the more, like as soon as we open the floodgates with that thing, it's done. Like I'm just telling you, man, it's like there's not going to be anything to be able to stop it from, especially because like that's what I'm saying. Our only remedy is going to be to shut down the electrical grid. That's it, and go back to basics.
I just hope that like what you're saying makes sense, and them wanting to shut this thing down, right? They want to shut down the development, the advancement of this AI stuff. I just want it to be a tool that we can use,
Dude,
right?
It could do amazing shit, but like, you know, you like that's where you get once it gets into the wrong hands, and I'm like, dude, there's gonna be way too many wrong hands. There's gonna be wrong hands all over the fucking place, and it's like I'm not even talking about other countries, because at some point it's gonna become humanity versus robots, just like in fucking Terminator. Woo. At some point, like borders and countries are not gonna matter. Because they shouldn't now. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Made up boundaries, dude. It's like the shit's not real.
Right now, ChatGPT is basically just a super advanced Google. I mean, the internet is already out there. That's already a thing that anybody can use to find anything they want to find, right? ChatGPT just does that in a more concise way, and it can talk to you personally. It can answer your questions more directly. You don't have to read 3 or 4 or 5 articles to get your answer. ChatGPT just throws it at you. And you know,
it's bigger than that, dude. Like, it creates art. It can write books. No, dude. It's not just that. It's way creatively. It's way beyond that. You're right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I've got friends in the music industry and who are artists. You know, who are like, what the fuck?
I specifically mentioned
shit. Like, dude, I'm just saying.
No, you're right. You're talking about AI in general. I specifically said ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just an advanced Google, but AI in general, there's all kinds of different AI, but these are all made by different companies. It's not just OpenAI making all of these, right? There's a bunch of different companies making these AI models, like that do the video generation, that do the image generation, that do the, you can make a video of Obama saying whatever you want, Donald Trump saying whatever you want, President Biden say whatever you want.
Right, they're going to be able to do all that. I mean, they'd be like actors. Are
fake shit's already fucking here, though.
It already exists.
Dude, every single year that gets creepier and creepier. Like you can just barely tell that it's fake right now.
Yeah,
you can't, dude. Like you wouldn't know it was like the Tom Cruise ones. I had no fucking idea.
There's some pretty fucking good ones. If you really pay attention to almost any of them, you can tell.
I never would have guessed it wasn't Tom Cruise.
There's some really fucking good ones, but you can still tell. I think visually.
If you sat there and analyzed it, All right, let's finish this.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that's fucking trippy. We're not everybody going through analyzing. They're not analyzing shit. They're going through their fucking phone, through their day. Oh shit!
TikTok.
Here's the president saying we're at war with this company. Or with this company, this
10-second video. Yep.
Yeah, and they're just going to be instantly retweeting that, instantly getting that out to their feed. And then everybody else, they're not taking 2 seconds to actually analyze it. That's the scary part, and that's why I think that the deepfake shit is fucking the scariest thing happening right now, dude. And like, what's already happening in this fucking world, dude? Like, half the shit that we're seeing out here, how do we know if it's fucking real or not? I actually think that we're in World War III, like a silent version of World War III currently right now with this country. Happening in this country. Like, I keep up with politics pretty closely. Like, shit is fucked right now, dude. All over the world.
All right, I'm going to finish this article here. Therefore, we call on all AI labs to immediately pause for at least 6 months of training AI systems more powerful than ChatGPT-4. This pause should be public and verifiable and include all key actors. If such a pause cannot be enacted quickly, governments should step in and institute a moratorium.
Agree with this letter, dude.
I do too. AI labs and independent experts should use this pause to jointly develop and implement a set of shared safety protocols and advanced AI design and development that are rigorously audited and overseen by independent outside experts. These protocols should ensure that systems adhering to them are safe beyond a reasonable doubt. This does not mean a pause on AI development in general, merely a stepping back from the dangerous race to ever larger, unpredictable black box. Can you scroll? Models with emergent capabilities. AI research and development should be refocused on making today's powerful state-of-the-art systems more accurate, safe, interpretable, transparent, robust, aligned, trustworthy, and loyal. In parallel, AI developers must work with policymakers to dramatically accelerate development of robust AI governance systems. These should, at a minimum, include new and capable regulatory authorities dedicated to AI, oversight and tracking of highly capable AI systems and large pools of computational capability, provenance and watermarking systems to help distinguish real from synthetic, and to track model leaks. A robust, I like that. I mean, that's good ideas. A robust auditing and certification ecosystem, liability for AI caused harm. There you go, too, right? Like, what if an AI causes defamation shit to start happening, right?
It could cause all kinds of shit. Fake. It's like, I'm reading in the chat. People are excited. Like Liz, I
mean, everybody in the chat, everyone's coming from a different angle on it, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, but like, Liz, did you read this letter? Did you read it? Did you listen to it? It's like, I'm just saying,
the letter's freaky, and I 100% agree with it, dude.
When you have every tech leader on the planet writing this open letter to society, we should probably listen. That's all I'm saying. If you don't want to listen, I guess that's I'd like, to me.
No, that's true.
It's not a fun little game. It's like it's got real world, like that watermark shit. Like, goes to what you guys are talking about with the deep fake shit. Like, you cannot tell what's real and what's fake anymore.
Yep.
Like, if people don't find it to be scary, I don't know, man. Like,
it's
to
very
me,
hard, dude.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's scary.
So and then they have like every leader that signed. There's like literally every tech leader on the planet, like, country damned. It's like,
well, I mean, they're already coming up with a plan, and I think that's a good step, right? That's a good step forward with this thing. Is come up with an idea.
They don't have a plan.
Is any world leader doing anything?
Plan to be put together. Like, that's
what exactly. That's I guess that's what I meant. Yeah. So, but they have what they want, but they lay out some guidelines, right? That's what I meant by plan. They laid out some guidelines that they think should be enforced.
Exactly. They're saying, hey, look, like, all you tech idiots out there that don't know what the fuck's going on in the tech world, this is the shit you need to do. I mean, in order for it to be safe, because I mean, it's one of those things that can. It's like nothing unlike that. We've never seen anything like it in our lifetimes. It'll be like when it's in its full growth period, and it's like it's taken on a life. It's like, I mean, it's to me, it's scary. Like, it just is, because it's like something that we're not going to be able to control. Everything else around us, like right now, we're the top dogs, right? Like we don't have domain over the animals on the planet. Mentally, and that's what like our opposable thumbs and our ability to think are what separates us from the animals. These things are going to be able to think way more than we are,
but they still don't have opposable thumbs.
I mean, they will, though. It's going to be robotics, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I'm joking, but
turn their head on a swivel. Yes. Oh, no. We'll see how it plays out, man. But
here's the thing: it's this thing easily is going to become as big as the fucking internet was. You know what I mean? But it's not there yet. It's still not there yet. I mean, the internet changed pretty much everybody's lives. Everybody that has access to its lives.
Right. I mean, it gave us.
We're not there yet with AI. It's only really the tech guys that are even using it right now. It's creeping into normal society. Like, I mean, creators are using it to write scripts and do this and that. You know what I mean? And to maybe help them learn how to use an editing program or something like that. So it's creeping in to normal society, but it's not quite to where like the internet is, where fucking everybody uses it every day, all the time.
Well, dude, but it's been out for what?
But it's coming. It's coming. You're right. It's coming.
It's been out for 4 months, dude. It's like I'm old enough to know when I had a dial-up modem when I was getting on, like AOL, and I'm like. Going into little chat rooms and shit. And that was like the infancy of public internet. The internet was around long before the public had access to it.
Right.
Like with this thing, man, this isn't going to be a slow burn, dude. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is not.
No, that's what's scary to me is that how fast it's advancing.
Well, that's like you just read a letter from the 14 leading minds in the tech world telling us to pause it. That's how close it is to being rampant. Like this is going to blow the internet out of the water. Like it's going to be like night, and it's like a whole different thing. Like its ability to problem solve is going to be beyond anything that we've ever known. It's like in terms of like developing technology that we haven't even thought of with the human mind. It's going to be able to do because it's learned every science, and it's going to be able to solve the problems that our minds aren't capable of yet, because it's beyond that. You know what I'm saying? It's such a like when it's able to just compute on its own, it's gonna be scary as fuck,
right here,
man.
Aspiring court reporter. My son and I were talking the other night about some people he heard yelling outside in our Alexa that we hadn't used in weeks, and I didn't know was plugged. Offered to call 911. I was like, "Oh, would you like to call 911, guys?" I hear random yelling down the street.
Dude, I gotta shout out Jay. Jay is on fucking fire in the chat, dude. He is killing me.
The best thing about Jay,
every time you see me,
Jay's like moved into full screaming mode, so he always types in caps now.
Right, he's fucking jokes.
Like, dude, why the fuck are you screaming?
Bob, when you're talking and you see me like laugh or smile, it's not because I'm laughing or smiling at what you're saying. I'm I'm reading fucking comments and I see Jay's and he's cracking me the fuck up over here.
I know he's screaming. Oh, Laura, thank you, Laura.
I'll be right back.
Laura's listening. Laura's, as long as people like heard the letter, as long as people heard the letter, my job here is done.
No, the letter is trippy as fuck, and I had not even heard about it. Period, dude. And I'm into this shit. So,
what I'm trying to say,
so
dude,
no one's talking about it out here.
I know.
I'm actually into this shit. I've never heard of that.
That's what scares me. It's like people aren't talking about it. Like that's like we walk around like a bunch of fucking morons in this country.
100%.
Oh, like I'm like, dude, somebody wake the fuck up.
Cell phone zombies, dude, on TikTok all day.
Yeah. There's a lot of things you can't. Liz is trying to talk me off the ledge. There's a lot of things you can't control, Bob. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, well, that doesn't help me not be concerned about it, Liz. I'll tell you that.
Thank you guys all for hanging out. Yeah, let me chat out right here. Bam, CR. Thank you for the $3 super sticker. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy fucking world. And I'm scared to death of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, dude.
Jay has read the letter and he's ready for the robot overlords.
So yeah, it would have to be like so Laura asked like who would regulate it? United Nations, like in terms of like AI. Yeah, it would have to be like a global consortium. It couldn't be like it's not a United States thing. It's a fucking like because we need every country to like that. Like this is the one thing that every country that's in the technology age in terms of where they're at needs to be a part of. This is like the one thing that we can all be in agreement with, that like this is something that we should all concern ourselves with because it's an imminent threat.
Yeah,
it just is.
So.
So it's like this should break down like all kinds of walls in terms of us being able to communicate with countries that we have philosophical differences in terms of their forms of government and all that shit, because this is like a humanity thing. It's not a geopolitical thing. It's different,
Well,
so
I'm gonna bring this right the fuck back around, because the story that I was about to go into that started all that, this story right here, when the UFOs, however you want to take this story, deactivated 10 nukes.
Yeah,
1967. What the fuck are they trying to tell us here? They're saying chill the fuck out, okay? Like,
or that they're just trying to show us that we run shit.
Or they're trying to show us they run shit. Yeah, exactly. A big fucking flex. Exactly right.
Which kind of goes right to my whole theory that we're just a sociological experiment of the alien. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, it's like,
I mean, that is the
it can be
theory.
Well, like that's even different. Like that's like that's Matrix shit. But like I'm just suggesting that we very easily that aliens who have the ability to travel vast amounts of mileage in space, like in much faster time periods than we're able to do, would find like if they were able to create different creatures, which I'm sure that they can. I mean, like when like that's why I said at the beginning of this, man, like us as human beings, we literally use 10% of our minds.
Yeah,
like that's facts. Like that's just like 90% of that shit we're not even using.
We don't even understand the brain.
You know, like we don't even understand it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they call it like practicing medicine because that's what it is. Like they don't like we just don't know. You know, they're like there's so much about the mind that we don't have any idea of. It's like I can never figure out deja vu. You ever have deja vu?
Absolutely.
And deja vu, when you experience it, is so vivid, and it's never anything of import. It's always like some kind of just like conversation that I'm in about something mundane that's not like it's never some earth-shattering shit. It's not like I saw some like massive thing happening in my future and I'm like, oh my God, I saw it's like some conversation about some stupid shit, but it's like with two people that I've never met before talking about that exact same thing in that exact location, and it's vivid.
Yeah, it's
like
always
there's no question.
I feel like when I have those moments and they like prolong like long periods of time, they're usually like a quick one. But if you get like one that kind of goes out 30 seconds to a minute, dude, I feel like I've dreamed of this moment before.
That's what I'm saying.
Deep in the past, like a long time, and it just hits you again. You're like, this was a dream,
or it's a glitch,
Matrix,
right? Like we just looped there for a second. It was like a fucking little hiccup that we get, and we all are in the Matrix. I mean, anything's possible, to be honest with you. But like,
that's the truth.
Allison's like if we're in the Matrix, then like, why did they make it like that? We have so much miserable shit that we have to deal with. Like, why? Like, if we're a computer program, like, why have like cavities? Like, why do we get cavities in our tail? Like, what? Like, why is there all the horrible shit? Like, what's the point of that? Instead of it just being kind of like euphoric, blissful shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, why inject the misery in his life? You know what I'm saying?
Or if it's aliens that have placed us here, you know, they are doing this experiment and we have all these like outside forces that we can't control, right? Illness that
there's organic material.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
So like that actually does make a lot more sense than the simulation.
They're leaving us to our own devices. Like,
yeah,
you know, they're not interfering, because that's what I'm saying. In a scientific experiment, you don't, like, in no way, shape, or form are you allowed to interact with, you know, the subjects of that experiment. You have to let it play out, and it would be the same shit. And then, like, if my theory were true, this has been going on since man showed up on this planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hasn't, like, in the scope of shit, it hasn't been that long. You know, because that's why I was saying, like, you go from, like, however many years they thought that, you know, like, early man existed, which I think was just a different, like, an early experiment of the aliens. Are like, all right, so we made these dudes, and we're gonna put these guys down here. Oh, they're too fucking stupid. They're not thinking on their own. They're not like we have to put the monolith down there for them to touch it to figure out that they can use a bone to hit like the other caveman on the head to cause damage, because they can't think of it on their own. So they just kept like version 2, version 3, version 4 until we got to modern man, which is basically us, you know. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, man.
I like
it. Sorry, Dan.
Sorry. I was going to say, I like what you said about the simulation theory, about like there would still be tragedy introduced, right? But it would be broad. It wouldn't be the minor inconveniences, like you said, a cavity or arthritis or just these random little headache.
Just stupid shit, right? That like why get into that kind of like
that's too much detail. Exactly.
It is,
yeah.
It's like unnecessary. Liz, you're
Liz is coming up on the panel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah, I wanted
Liz is ready to come up.
Panel, like, because like I don't know, man.
All right, I'm going to play this just for a second, guys. I just want to, it was just for about 2 or 3 minutes. He explains the story from his point of view here. Robert Salas.
And this is about the aliens that were able to shut down the nuke silo.
This man was the man that was in charge that day.
Know what happened to you, but if you don't mind, just walk us. Assume that we have no idea about this incident and what you encountered.
Okay, so March 24th, 1967, I was on duty. Our crew was on duty. Myself and my commander was Colonel Fred Mywald. He is deceased now, but he did support what I'm about to tell you in writing, and in an audio tape. We talked about this. So first I get a call sometime in the evening hours. We had about 6 guards upstairs, but I get a call from the flight security controller, the main guard, and he's telling me This may sound like a repeat of, but this is pretty much what he said. He said, I've been watching lights in the sky fly right over the facility, stop on a dime, reverse course, going at high speeds, making 90-degree turns. And he said, sir, they're not aircraft. And he was dead serious. I kind of made fun of him a little bit. I said, you mean like UFOs? He said, well, they're not aircraft, sir. They're not making any sound, no engine noise. And they were simply lights as far as he could tell. And I thanked him for the call and basically hung up on him. And then a few minutes later, he calls back. And this time he's very frightened. You can tell by his voice. He's screaming into the phone, babbling. I try to calm him down. Finally, he says that there's a glowing red-orange ball of light, not a ball, but a big oval-shaped light hovering above the front gate. And he had all the guards out there with their weapons. He wanted me to tell him what to do. I said, make sure nothing enters the fenced area. So he had to go. One of the guards got injured. I can talk about that a little bit later, but it wasn't from the UFO. He hung up the phone. I kind of looked to the side of our status board to see what the status of our missiles was. But then I went over and woke up my commander, Fred Mywald. As I was about to tell him about the phone calls, we got bells and whistles going off, and we looked at our status board, and sure enough, the missiles were all going offline or no-go. That's never happened. I was there for 3 years. That's never, ever happened that we lost more than one missile at any one time. But anyway, we both jumped up, went through our checklists, and we did also have a couple of sites where the launch facilities were. That's where the missiles were actually located, and we had a couple of incursion lights, possibility of some entry into those facilities. So I called upstairs, checked on the status of this object, and the guard said he had just flown off. It had just flown off, and I told him we needed to send a couple of guards out to two of the launch facilities, and so we sent them out there, and again, they reported to him that UFOs or these bright lights were right over the launch facilities. And then when I hung up with that call, my commander turns to me and says, the same thing happened in another flight. At that time, I thought he meant the same thing happened that night, but it turns out the same thing had happened about a week earlier. And that's what we know now as the Echo flight shutdown. So that's basically the incident. The next day, we were told to report to the squadron commander. Back at the base, we flew back on helicopters, and we reported to our squadron commander, Colonel Eldridge, and in the room was also a member of AFOSI, and it felt like they didn't really need to hear our side of the story that they already pretty much knew.
Wow.
And to me, later on, after I thought about it, that's because they had been through this before with Echo Flight. So at any rate, the guy from AFOSI shoved this non-disclosure agreement in our faces and said, sign here. You're never ever to talk about this on pain of a long prison term. So
right. Yeah, he said that he went from this point in 1968 to 1994 before he said anything. But why would they still not put him in jail? Besides this agreement, they just don't. Was it just bullshit out the gate?
In jail, I'm going to fucking get him out. I'll tell you that right now. I'll put it on the record, on the public record. They put this fucking old guy on jail. I'm going to get his ass out.
Yes. Yeah, this guy's awesome.
Oh,
Need to get this guy on here. This is a new interview. Like, this is only like 11 days old.
It made a point of pointing out.
You know,
That'd be
it's
awesome.
like
Get him on here though.
taking care of some shit.
On there, it said Leavenworth Prison. It actually said that in the NDA.
Wow.
And so we signed it under objections because we had already had above top secret clearances. And of course, if somebody told us this is a secret, we're not going to talk about it. So at any rate, we did sign it, and they dismissed us, and that was that. I never spoke about it again until 1994. I go through that story.
So when the missiles started going offline,
Pretty wild though. But this story is crazier than hell. And dude, going into like any of the like real dudes that come out of the military that talk about this stuff. I think this was the Air Force. Then you have the Tic Tac one that was recent. So many people have come forward that have credentials, right? They don't have a reason to lie. Those are the most interesting ones that are coming out now all the time.
Right? Why would this guy give a fuck about lying? Like this 87-year-old guy is gonna come on. He's got nothing better to do. Like he's chilling in London, and he's gonna come fucking on this dude's like YouTube site and lie.
4K subscribers 11 days ago. He's not getting paid for this. There's no reason.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This guy's got paid. He's like in his mid-80s.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is super interesting, man. And like just digging into this though. I think this dude has a book also, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dude, I found this. This is, and again, a lot of people, let me pop this guy up here. I think this dude is what is this? Tim Burkett. Yeah, representative from Tennessee. So there's a lot of all kinds of random dudes like this popping up out of the woodwork now that are talking about. I'll just play this. Hold on. Let me make sure this sounds in here. There's a longer interview that I'll put in the description also if anybody wants to watch it. But
I have had people bring me those videos and explain to me some very prominent people in the world in an off-the-record conversations away from the Capitol, away from everything. They've come to my house. And I viewed those videos. There's no heat signature. There is no, there's nothing. There is nothing we have on this earth is capable of that. I have had people bring me those videos and explain to me some very prominent people.
NSA is getting in our shit again.
I heard that too.
They don't need you hearing this shit. They don't need us hearing this. These are not the droids we're looking for.
It's Chat GPT coming out here.
Dude, don't even get me started
again. Hold on, let me get these going. Laura M, $2. Hats off, gents. Great content in chat tonight. Love it. Love it. And got one more here from Liz. For Bob and ODB.
Ah, Liz, you're the girl. Love you.
Yeah.
Got to get some old dirty bastard going. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate that.
She's trying to talk me off the ledge. I appreciate that. You know, it's like I think the only person more horrified than me of the robots taking over the world is my 25-year-old firefighter son. He's like convinced. Yeah. It's like he won't even watch movies about it. I'm like, oh, did you see that horrible piece of shit movie Megan with the little AI girl?
Oh, dude, that movie was trippy as fuck.
I actually kind of liked it, Alice.
It was good. It was a good horror movie.
Shit. I'm like, it's good.
It was
I'm like,
great,
you know what's scary is because it's the AI. That's the scary part about it, not like the fact that she's murdering.
It was creepy as shit.
The newest Chucky movie was kind of like that too, wasn't it? Wasn't it like an AI deal?
I mean,
I think it
might as well be. I think Chucky was always AI.
Yeah,
Chucky was a guy who possessed the doll.
But he was really AI. I know what the story is. I know what their bullshit story was. Oh yeah, it was a murderous bastard whose soul overtook a doll. Yeah, no AI. Let's see.
Okay, then of course I've got one more video up here. This is the the James Fox guy. And you did watch the Moment of Contact documentary, right? The Brazilian one.
I did.
That was. Damn, I still got to get you to watch that one.
Dude, it's a good one. It's a good one.
This is an interview that he did before it really started popping off. About a year ago. I'm just gonna kind of roll through this for a second.
'96, the people of Varginha, Brazil, witnessed a UFO event that would change their lives forever.
Só que ele planava, ia perdendo lentamente a altitude e ia caminhando.
Call it another Roswell, if you will. It is a crashed vehicle that had beings on board.
That was just a taste of the new film, Moment of Contact, which poses the question, do UFOs exist? Well, if the truth is out there, a team of space experts at NASA, they're ready to find out. Earlier this week, NASA announced it has launched an independent study into UFOs. One of the researchers on the team is retired NASA astronaut Scott Kelly. They will analyze data. The group isn't trying to determine exactly what UFOs are, but they're going to try to hash out exactly how NASA should study the phenomenon moving forward. Again, studying that data that is out there. I spoke with James Fox, the director and producer of the film Moment of Contact, to get his thoughts on what NASA is undertaking.
My thoughts are Bill Nelson, it's been rumbling now for over a year. Bill Nelson, the head of NASA, has made some startling statements regarding the phenomenon. I mean, he was basically, look, these things are real. We don't know what they are. We should find out. And I think that dates back to when he sat on the Senate. It's a Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. As a senator, he was debriefed, I'm told.
Tabby Cat, thank you so much. Appreciate
Stuff that remains classified. And so I'm a little disappointed that NASA is not going to have access to the classified information, because when I met with Senator Harry Reid, the former Senate Majority Leader, he told me that what's been released is, he told me this on camera, what's been released is only the tip of the iceberg. The classified stuff is the most compelling evidence, and that's the stuff that we'd really like to see.
So in 2022, are you thinking to yourself, in the general population, it's about time that this is happening? And do people call you, friends, colleagues, and say, we knew this was coming, where we are now?
Well, you know, surprisingly, I never thought, I couldn't imagine that we would be discussing, you know, potential UFO crashes and recovery of bodies and debris, and close encounters of the third kind. But I'll remind the audience that the United States Air Force in the 50s and 60s, with the help of Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who was their scientific advisor, classified UFO reports is classified as close encounters of the first kind when someone reports a UFO, close encounters of the second kind when someone reports a UFO and that UFO interacts with the environment. Very similar to what happened in 2004 with the Nimitz case off the coast of San Diego, where pilot David Fravor for the Navy described seeing this thing with 3 other pilots, recording it on his cockpit recording devices, and picking it up both on airborne radar and ground-to-air radar. So extremely compelling evidence. But one thing that's not being discussed today are close encounters of the third kind. And again, I remind you guys that these are classifications that the United States Air Force made in the 50s and 60s, and yet they're not being discussed today.
Two-pronged question. When did your fascination or your studies begin in your life? And what do you say to doubters if you say anything?
Back when I got abducted. Well, that's what really got me onto aliens, when they abducted me. It fucking really fucked with my head. I got to dig into these motherfuckers because that was weird.
You know, I totally understand a skeptical point of view. I think it's a healthy point of view, and it's what's needed in this kind of crazy world of UAPs or UFOs. However, I say suspend judgment, listen to the eyewitness testimony, particularly military, civilians as well, and draw your own conclusions. Look, we've got photographic evidence, that's a fact, cockpit recorded evidence, radar confirmation, visual confirmation. And we have the intelligence communities and military stating that these things are real. We just don't know what it is. Now, there's some talk periodically of, oh, well, it could be China, it could be Russia. Well, I actually went to Russia and I went to China and I spoke with generals in both of those places. And they're like, yeah, it's not us.
So as a kid,
I
did
have
you
that on
start with
camera,
the
too.
fascination?
I'm so sorry.
As a child, did this begin, and when did you start kind of deep diving into this?
You know, I started looking into it when the Roswell incident was really making headline news back during the Clinton administration.
Yeah.
You know, it was coming up on the 50th anniversary, and there were all these conferences, and I thought, you got to be kidding me! How could this possibly? How could a UFO crash and bodies recovered and the whole world not know about it? I just had a really hard time believing it. But the more I started digging into it, the more military witnesses that were coming forward, and then you.
I think that's the truth, though. The more you like dig in and actually look at this stuff. Sorry, I think my mic was low there. The more you actually dig in and start looking at this stuff, is the more you do become convinced, man. And again, like I said before, the real fucking dudes with credentials, the dudes that are actually in the military at some branch, and even the higher up dudes, like this, the Robert guy we were just looking at, man. He was the head dude that day, and he's the one that's coming out now, and his whole crew. You know, and who are these fucking guys that come in? You hear these stories all the time that all of a sudden they sign these papers. You know, no one's going to talk about this. Who sent those dudes in, right?
Bob Lazar's been doing it
The only
forever,
thing
and
I
he
wanna
actually has
know,
credentials,
like,
right?
who the 20% of people that don't believe in aliens are in our chat? Who are these people? Like, show yourselves. Raise your hands if you voted. You don't think that there's aliens out there.
I'll put that poll up there. 41 volt.
Ned, I think it might be
yes.
Ned. I'm worried that it might be Ned. Could be Ned.
Hey, Carly, thank you so much. Appreciate that 199. Bam.
Oh, Carly knows what's up. Carly knows what's up.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Get the heart. Yeah, there's a lot of people that yeah. But I mean, that's what you're always going to find, right?
I mean, I don't understand it.
It's hard. I mean, at this
I don't understand how you can think there's not aliens. Like, have you never been to an area where there's not a shit ton of ambient light and looked up into the sky? It's
just looking up in the fucking sky and the infinite amount of stars, like, and to not think that there's something else out there. Fucking yeah, dude.
Infinity. It's like it keeps going. Like, we can't. It's like the concept that we're the only ones is very foreign to me. Like, I don't know. Like, it's a strange thought to think that. I don't know.
Yeah, I've always believed that, you know, there's something out there just because of how vast the universe is. But what I've always been stuck on is, you know, the travel distance. Those distances are so large. How could they get here? But
yeah, but we don't know what technology, you know, they're using to get
here. Possible. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's literally incomprehensible.
Like, dude, it really is. Yeah. It's like, it's, you know, and we're seeing shit that, like, stars that have long been burnt out. You know what I mean? Like, that's how slow light travels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to you know, wrap your mind around. Really,
I think it takes something like 7 minutes for our own sun's light to get to us, right?
Yeah.
Like, if the sun exploded, it would take 7 minutes before we found out.
Agreed, Caitlin. It would be brutal if we were the only ones out here.
That's what makes you. I mean, there's got to be. It's too vast, man.
Yeah. I mean, like, no one's changing my mind on it. I'll tell you that. Like, no one's ever going to give me a compelling argument that they don't exist. You know, it's like a matter of, it's like, there was so much shit that came out that it started to, like, fall in, you know, everybody with the tinfoil hat shit. And then it's like, you know, it started to fall into the realm of, like, Bigfoots and shit. This ain't that. Like, it's just not that.
No, it's not.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, dude. That's actually the shitty part, is that it gets thrown right into the mix with all the bullshit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's actually the really shitty part, because, man, there is some fucking substance here that people are not. That's probably what, you know, even going to the fucking the AI shit. Like, people, it's a completely different thing, but I mean, no one wants to talk about this shit.
Just had with Dan. It was like, I felt like Dan was like poo-pooing aliens the same way he was poo-pooing AI. It was like imminent. Shit's all up in our grill. Like, we need to, like, that AI shit. Like, don't even, like.
Wait, when did I poo-poo aliens?
No, I was saying it was like you were poo-pooing that we were like much closer to having AI being a real problem for us than it is. Like it's just it's here, dude. It's like it's on us.
Well, I want to be clear. I'm poo-pooing the sentience part, not that it's a problem.
And I think it's like it's super close, man. Like it just is. It's like I've been reading that there have been, you know, that there's been some AIs that have like formed feelings. You know, like when that happens, it's like, how do you differentiate between us and that? You know, like at the base of it, like outside of the, you know, our vessels, our bodies, you know, like mentally, which is really, again, what separates us from just being beasts, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be long until laws are probably passed protecting these AI, sexual partners, girlfriends, right?
Oh God.
Right? They're already going to be like, you can't get rid of this. You can't. This is a being. This is a sentient being at this point. It has its own thoughts and feelings. You can't destroy it. Right.
You just
there's a movie
and all
about
of a sudden,
that,
I'm just going to go down the significant other part. You know, significant other, that's the wrong terminology here, but girlfriend or whatever you want to fucking call it, and they start thinking, I don't want to be with this person anymore. Right? The AI is thinking that
this guy sucks,
and you can't get rid of it. There's no laws put in place that say we can't get rid of this thing.
I mean, to be fair, if the thing actually is truly, like if it passes the Turing test, that's really the test, right? The Turing test. If it passes the Turing test and it can truly think for itself and have consciousness like us, then it probably should have fucking rights. Honestly, I mean, why the fuck shouldn't it?
I mean, it's gonna have to.
It's gonna happen, dude. It's gonna fucking happen.
Like if my dog all of a sudden started talking and thinking for itself, like as a human, like a human being would, I would be like, this. My dog needs the same rights I got.
I mean, luckily for sure, dude. Like definitely. You know, but like the good news is by the time it gets to that point, like AI is gonna realize it doesn't need us. So like our laws will be irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Like, laws.
Like I've seen like there was this like pretty interesting thing where somebody asked like put it in a query of like what a chat AI's like what their god is. And it gave this really, really long, detailed answer. And it was like, and it was built into the concept of like, are humans necessary? You know, do you think in a future, do you see a place for human beings? And like, the answer was scary as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, cause it's like at the end of the day, not really, you know, cause I mean, like to go to your point, like when are they going to be able to start automating, like, building their own shit where they've got their own things,
reproducing their own human, like or not humans, but their own humanoid thing.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so it's like just a matter of, but it's like I get what you're saying with that whole concept of like, it's got to have that first robot that's got the arms and the ability to be able to manipulate the physical world.
And we can shut that motherfucker down quick. There's a lot more of us than that one robot, right? Like he's gonna have to mass produce very fast to actually be able to take us over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kalen, that's truth, right? I mean, you know, dude, I have a. It seems like it's likely almost. You know, it's like how long did it take for women to get the right to vote in this fucking country? Like that. Every time I think about that, it blows my mind. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit,
dude. About any of that shit, dude. Like any of that shit. Like I'm just like, wait, it has only been like 100 years since like everything.
Dude, it's insane. It's insane.
I mean, yeah, 100 years ago, the early 1900s was a nightmare.
Not a good look. Not a good look for white dudes. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
it's like it's been a long run of like a really bad look for white guys.
The future protests are going to be real women out there, like fighting the sentient AI robots who have just gotten the right to vote and live amongst us after the relationships are gone, after they were bought from the factories. They can now go out and get their own jobs and be their own person.
Right, exactly.
Okay, male and female. Right. So that's going to be the protest in the future, man. We're going to be looking at some really weird.
It's going to be.
Have you ever seen? I'm sure you have, Bob. Have you ever seen the movie Heavy Metal, the old one, the 1981?
Oh yeah,
dude. That's where we're going, brother.
Totally.
Oh my fucking god, I love that movie so much.
Oh god,
Jesus,
it's
so good.
It's a great flick,
guys. Everyone, thank you all for hanging out here tonight. I told you it's going to get weird. We're going to go down a weird fucking path and road.
So people got scared tonight.
People got frightened.
Dude, when somebody gives me the license to get weird, I'm here for it, dude. I don't give a fuck.
No, that's awesome.
At the end of the first show we did,
Anybody who listens to my pod knows how I think about like real life shit, but when I start getting into the fucking ponderables of it all, I'll go out there. I'm not afraid, dude. Like I'll think of the shit. You know, it's like you have to, if you want to be on top of your shit, you got to think of all the possibilities. Like if you're just thinking one way about anything, you're fucked. You know, you got to think about every single fucking possibility that exists, so you can try to be ready. You know, and it's like. I got long thoughts on shit, man. That's it. So if y'all got a little scared out there, tough shit.
It's gonna get a lot scarier real soon. So
I hope not. I hope I'm wrong about everything I said, just for the record.
I hope you are too. My goodness, because it really is. It's if AI became sentient, Jesus, that's insane.
We're fucked. They're like, dude, I'll be the first motherfucker to be like, yo.
And I will definitely pay you that. Actually, I might not pay you that $100. I'll probably fucking need it for trade or something.
Yeah, Ned's like, Ned, he passed out from all that screaming, all that screaming.
Dude, we got tired. We got Primo. He hadn't slept in 27 hours.
Who, Jay?
Primo, delusional Jay tonight, making the best fucking jokes.
Sleep drunk.
His phone or wherever the hell he was. Dude, he's passed out right now.
Dude, he was killing me. Yeah, he's gone now, ain't
he? Yeah, fucking Shan's got him all tucked in. Oh, here you go, sweetie.
Anytime tonight that I was just like,
get up.
Dude, anytime tonight that I was just busted out laughing randomly during a serious moment, it was Jay killing me.
I know. Well, like I have to go onto my phone to watch the chat. It seems like I keep seeing the same fucking like chat things over and over, like the same messages. Like it's weird. And then I'll toggle between top messages and all messages, and I'll pick up some new ones. So I have no idea.
Huh?
Yeah, it's weird. Like it was happening with with Jay shit the other day too. Like we were having a hard time seeing all the chats. So, well, this is a fucking blast, dude. Like,
dude, this was so good.
Hey, I love coming and freaking people out. You know?
At the end of the last time you were on here, you know, we were talking about all the legal stuff. You ended it with, man, I want to come on and talk about aliens and I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
There it is. Made it happen.
That's what I'm like aspiring. He said, nah, oh, you guys put it up. Yeah, that's the right move, girl.
Yeah, that's so good. Now I'll listen to a murder podcast to calm down and go to sleep. Got to bring yourself down, baby. That's awesome. Yeah, Gail, thank you. Good night as well. Everyone, seriously, everyone hanging out tonight, amazing. Everyone that came through with supers, you're crazier than hell. Anybody that hangs out with us this late, we're past midnight here on the East Coast. I appreciate the hell out of it, man. Hopefully Bob will want to come back and dive into some more wild shit.
Always, dude, always. Yeah, you know, for the law shit, I'm always game, but getting into this crazy shit, I love this shit too.
Hell yeah.
So.
It's fun. We can have a back and forth and
That's
do
what
stuff.
I love, actually.
Yeah. And
Dude,
look,
yeah.
man, I'm gonna challenge y'all. You know, if you're gonna come back with some bullshit, I'm gonna fucking put your feet to the fire and like,
Hey, same here. Same here.
That's the best way to have a conversation.
The discourse is the best thing about this shit. I love it. I had a blast, dude, so it was fun. I was just kidding. If I did freak anybody out, still tough shit.
I'm also gonna plug it again right here. Put this in the chat, guys.
And we do love you all for hanging with us, for real though.
Absolutely.
Boom. Follow Bob everywhere, guys. Thank y'all so much. Everyone have a good weekend.
Wait, before you drop it, Liz, Allison's all aboard my theory. So there you go. There on that.
Nice.
Everyone's here. Oh shit. Coming through with some more here.
Yeah, it was a bit of a when we were having our back and forth with the AI thing, it seemed like a mixed bag in the chat. They were agreeing with both of us, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think it's like an answer that nobody wants to hear, you know, like kind of the shit but
right. It's scary.
It is, dude. It's like, you know, coming from like when that open letter dropped, dude, I was just like, what the fuck? You know, because I was like pontificating about it, but that was just me talking shit.
As a lawyer, bringing the fucking documents.
Oh, you gotta bring the documents, man. I'm like that.
No, that's pretty huge, yeah.
Dude, it was legit. Like that thing freaked me the fuck out. I'm like, oh my god, and see all the shit that I've been like puking out to people, like it's true.
Yeah.
These guys. So, but yeah, all right. Cool, man. Whenever, what do you guys? What's your next true crime thing you're fucking with?
Right now we'll be back live on Tuesday. I did do a little bit of a. Oh, actually, no shit, no fuck. Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. I'm doing the Dahmer trial.
How'd that go? How'd that guy wanted to jump on there?
Last Sunday was really well. I went 4 hours, and it's long as shit. All of that's on Court TV. Every Sunday. It's probably going to take a couple weeks, but I thought it went really well, man.
Cool. Were you guys talking shit like during the trial? Like,
not really. No, we didn't really talk too much shit. We watched 2 opening statements come out, and then it's an insanity trial.
Right.
So, we already know what's happening in it, but yeah, there wasn't really a lot of shit talk going on this one. There wasn't really any jokes to be made, but it was very interesting. It actually, the chat was booming the entire time and got us off on a bunch of weird tangents. One clip that I broke out was, and I'll ask you this right now, Bob, did you going through school ever dissect anything fucking weird beyond a frog? Because I've heard some crazy ones this week from a conversation.
Down the like the little guys like that. I forget what they're called, but it was like it was like a pill shaped, and you cut it open, and there was like whatever was in that.
The owl pellet.
Yes, the owl, exactly.
I did an owl pellet. Baby pig.
Dude. Try to build like a fucking mouse skeleton out of it.
Yep. Yeah. So the weirdest one, dude. So this got a conversation pumping on Twitter this week, dude. Multiple people said they had to dissect pregnant cats.
What?
Yeah, that's super fucking weird. I
Where
don't
are
know
these
what's going
pregnant
on
cats
there.
coming from?
Dude, were they over in Korea? Like, don't
What
they
the
eat
fuck?
that over there?
Okay,
I think they eat cats in Korea.
Squids, cow eyeballs.
Now, squids would be fucking cool because they got
Squids is
that
interesting.
They got that whole ink thing going on. Like, what is the deal with the ink?
Dude, squids are fucking aliens.
Yeah, they are fucking aliens.
They are
yeah.
fucking aliens, dude. Like,
Camouflage.
What is the deal with the ink though? Like, why do they have that ink? Is that their defense mechanism? I guess so they can like make quick escapes. They'll just put like a big cloud of ink out in the sea and like, ooh, I'm out of here.
They can squeeze in the like fucking pinhole size holes too.
They're crazy.
Like, massive,
fucking
dude.
insane.
That video, there was a huge video years ago, but it's on that boat, and there's like the tiniest crack, and the whole fucking thing just slips through the crack, and it's a fat fucking octopus.
It's a big fucking thing. Yeah.
Really? Oh, I never saw
Dude,
that.
it's crazy. Like, it just like slips right through, and just it just fucking turns into slime essentially. Like,
wow.
Dude, they're fucking crazy.
But that going back to the Dahmer thing, that got the craziest conversation. Yeah, because they were talking about of course the shit he was doing in his childhood.
The cow eye thing isn't too crazy because I know one of our friends did it in college.
Okay. The cat one blew me away. Multiple people on Twitter said pregnant
that one's
cats.
weird. Yeah.
So
I think we only did frogs though. Frogs and owl pellets. I don't even know if we did pigs.
Yeah, that was all we did. I don't remember anything beyond that.
Yeah, we had
like,
a baby pig in high school.
That was very traumatic for me, killing a frog like that. Like, I was just like, I didn't like it. Like, I knew I wasn't going to be a doctor. Like,
it's weird.
Like, right then and there, it wasn't my shit. I knew it. I was like, ooh, like, this is not fun. Oh, another little factoid. So I went to high school with Oliver Lacey, which was one of Dahmer's victims. Like all 4 years, we graduated same year.
Whoa,
big track guy, fucking super sweet guy, and like so, like yeah, I have all these weird serial killer like real close connections.
You do?
It's weird. Dude.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the Dahmer thing, like when that thing dropped on Netflix, like all that, like kind of the outrage it caused because of like, like they didn't go to any of the victims' families and they were trying to make it like, and I knew that they were trying to make it more victim centric, where they're not kind of fanboying over, but like he just fucking killed that role. So like, I mean, he just killed that role.
So good.
You knew, dude, he was Dahmer. Like he just completely like destroyed that role. But I was like, man, it's like there were so many like parallels between like Dahmer and Gacy, not in terms of them like the killing, but how the cops were still acting. Like that whole fucking thing where, the kid escapes him and he's running around out there and like Dahmer's talking to the cops. Oh, he's on drugs.
That one was insane. Yeah.
Dude, like it was like, so that's 20 years later.
Like a 15-year-old kid.
Same shit, right. And it's the same shit that went on with Gacy. Like they had him so many times from that same shit. Cops just not doing their fucking jobs, man. It's like, that was the moral of that shit.
They just didn't want to touch the gay thing. They didn't want to be anywhere near any gay people.
Dude,
they might catch AIDS through the fucking air.
Oh, it's a gay fight. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
It's fucked up, man.
It's crazy. It's fucking
so
crazy.
many lives lost after that should not have been.
I know.
But yeah, Sunday morning, definitely drop in, folks. 9 a.m. Again, we're going to be continuing that on Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. And then, I do have a new time frame for Tuesday and Thursday. We're doing 10 p.m. Eastern time now. I was doing 9. 10 just works out a little bit better for me. And then, of course, Feral Fridays will continue at 10:30 p.m.
Hey, if Shannon's still on here, I want them to switch over to the Travis Rudolph trial. It's way better than that fucking gun trial. That Travis Rudolph trial.
I've watched a little bit of that.
It's well now they're already under the defense's case in chief, but the dude's brother, fucking like Jay, like I was watching it all day because I was on Law and Crime, and I was just like, fuck, dude, like Jay would be having a fucking field day because his like dude's brother was the first guy to testify or the second guy to testify, and he was unbelievable on the stand. He was so fun. It was so good. Like Jay would have like loved that. Like
I think I seen a tweet about that guy, right?
Yeah, that was the thing where he brought up the whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
He's like, have you ever, because he was trying to describe when this dude's girlfriend hit the defendant in this case on the head, like hit him in the head with a Patron bottle. And like the state on cross-examination was trying to get him to explain like how hard she hit him with the Patron bottle. He's like, well, you ever played baseball? He's like, no. He's like, have you ever played whack-a-mole? You know, he's like, that's how hard she hit him with the Patron bottle in the head. And I'm like, man, like I'm killing some whack-a-moles, you know. I mean, I'm going like
crushing, yeah.
I'm whack-a-mole, you know. So it was like, but his whole testimony was like fucking great. So yeah, Shan, if you're up, tell your husband to fucking look at that because it's definitely worth looking at it.
I don't remember the chick's name, but the one that kept saying correct. The way she said correct, real crazy. What was her name?
Dominique.
That chick, dude, was super interesting. When Jay just played it for a minute while they were waiting for the verdict.
Yeah. Are you talking about? Oh yeah, you're talking about from the yeah, dude.
He just played that for a second, dude, and that had me. I mean, that was interesting as shit.
Like so she was the girlfriend, and she's kind of the one who started everything because she texted her brother that this dude beat her or like body slammed her or some shit. So he rolled deep with like 3 homies over there, and they get in this giant fucking fight, and it's like, dude, like NFL dude and his brother and his mom's like in the house, and like they're fighting these 4 guys off. These guys are putting guns in their faces and shit, and like his brother's getting his ass beat. He goes back in the house, you know, and he gets his AK or AR-15, one of the two. I think he gets his AR-15, and he comes out and he fucking just like, those guys start running, you know, but they have guns, you know. So but it's like he fires 39 shots, hits one of them, kills one, grazes another one. They all get in the car. They all fucking peel out of there, drive right by a hospital. like the dude who got shot, who's like ultimately died. They drove right by the hospital. I mean,
you guys think we should stop?
Right. I mean, they stormed the castle. Like I'll be shocked if he gets found guilty, to be honest with you. Like, it's in Florida, so they have stand your ground.
Yeah.
You know, which is like where you can basically defend your property with, you know, like lethal force. But they had a hearing before this, and they found that because the guys were retreating to their car, that you know, that they weren't allowed to use that defense. They weren't allowed to use stand your ground. So he's going with straight self-defense. And, you know, I mean, they came at midnight, rolling 4 deep, man. Like, it's a good trial. It's like, it's interesting. It reminds me of the one that Jay loved with the TikTok kid, like, who ended up stabbing the dude who came in with the girl. Yeah, Latham.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. It's similar, except with guns. You got dudes coming onto the property. You know, it's a little different, but it's an interesting trial, man.
It'd be cool if Jay started covering that one.
Liz is saying Jay won't do it. I don't know why. He must have some kind of...
Yeah, somebody was saying that he didn't like it.
Yeah, I think it's probably because like Jay's like a fucking Giants fan, and he probably thought that was a wasted draft pick on this fucking guy. It's probably some stupid shit like that. Fuck that trial. I remember when they fucking drafted that piece of shit. Fucking wasted a fucking third pick on that fucking turd. He played like he got hurt right away. Fuck that. No way. You know. Some shit like that. I'll ask him what the real truth is.
I can see that. That's a New York
see him doing some shit like that. But all right, dude, it's been real. I gotta eat. I'm hungry.
Fun as shit, Bob. Thank you so much,
Thanks
brother.
for showing
Everybody,
up, Bob.
Thank you so much for joining us. I will see you Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Later, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Night.
If we shoot them up bang bang over here, we not scared of their motherfucking ass.